Okay, carriers. We're now ready to hang the carriers. We have all of our trim hung, we have the gutter hung, the gutter's sealed, downspouts in, so we're all set. Our first carrier is 36 inches out because we've hung the G channel 1 inch down on the wall to account for the slope. Now this carrier is tacked into place, but it's not exactly where it needs to be height-wise. We're going to go back and show you how we adjust that. The way you make sure your carriers are straight this way, so the panels don't torque to the left or the right, is the bracket on the carrier tucks into the side cap as it goes along. So we have our prongs tucked into the side cap here and tucked in there, and that'll keep your panels nice and straight. Okay, so we're ready to put our third bracket in. We're at essentially 9 feet out, 3, 6, 9 feet out for our third one. I have it marked. We have our first 2 in. So the carrier brackets are 12 feet. This is a full bracket here. That obviously begs the question, when you need longer than 12 feet, how do you connect them so that the panels snap in at exactly the same width? I'm going to show you how to do that now. Okay, so the way you know that you'll match up evenly by connecting the carriers is make the cuts at this rectangle. So here I'm actually making 2. I'm just going to use 1, but so there's 1. Say you needed another one. We have our connector like this now. This obviously doesn't need to look pretty. So that's half of it. So now I'm cutting both edges off. Once you have the edges off, there's your piece. Squeeze it together so it fits inside there. Let's say this is the carrier connecting to that's up there. Tuck inside. Those holes match up. We'll put some zip screws in there and we'll show you what that looks like once we get up there. But that just lets you know you have your spacing perfect, as though it was one carrier. I find it easiest to start these screws with your hands as opposed to just trying to drill them in. As soon as you get those holes to match up, right there. And then it helps if you tilt this thing way over. There's 1. There's 2. Okay, we're putting up the third carrier now, and I have slid the carrier to the side cap, just like the other 2, so that the hooks on the carrier line up going this way. That's how you make sure carriers are straight going this way. I'm now going to screw these carriers in. The trick to this is, although the bracket has holes in it, it's easier to bring the carrier up and down by going through the metal. So there is a hole right there, but I'm going to go through the aluminum. So in each of these carriers right now, I only have 2 screws in each 15-foot run. I did that in the event that I need to move them. I won't have to pull a bunch of screws out and put them back in. You want to set them up, get them tacked in place, and then get them perfectly straight. What we have here is a small section of the carrier. What I'd like to show you is how the panel fits into the carrier and how many clips it takes. So here's a little section of a panel. This is the rustic wood grain light cherry panel. Notice every panel requires 4 hooks. 2 of the hooks attached to the panel and the other 2 are inside. That's how you know how many panels it's going to take once you have your carriers up. And then you can determine if you have a full panel or less than a full panel at the end. So very basically, without any adjustments, this is what this is going to look like, just to give you a reference point. So every 4 hooks is a panel. Now this is going to work out for me to end inside the side cap. Sometimes you'll end with 2 hooks and you'll have to make a panel, and we'll show you how to do that. Okay, so this isn't attached yet, but what you can see just by gauging this is that my final hook is into the side cap further than the hook back there. At this point, we're going to put a couple panels in and see how straight these are. So you want to make sure your carriers are perfectly lined up perpendicular to the deck. An easy way to gauge that right off the bat. If you end with a full carrier or even half a carrier, you need this hook to be inside the side cap. As long as this hook is somewhere inside the edge of the side cap right here, that means that you're good to use it. If we were this far out, well, that means we don't have enough carrier. Once you have this set, gauge your other hooks here, and you can move your carriers this way to make sure they're all lined up correctly.